Let's talk to Christy from Ventura, California, listening on the 25-year-old KKLA celebrating their 25th anniversary. Congratulations to them. Hi, Christy. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Well, I am glad to say I'm one of the fortunate people who no longer has to worry about looking for Mr. Right.
Oh, good.
Yeah. This summer I got married to a fabulous man who's equally yoked. We've known each other a number of years. Our daughters are best friends. And we just thought everything would blend. You know, there's going to be trouble, but we didn't expect this.
Yeah. Blended.
Yeah.
They blended, but the blending was...
the blender got jammed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
so what? Briefly, tell us what that story is. What's the situation?
Well, in a nutshell, we came back from our honeymoon, driving out west, and we went to pick up his daughters to start our little vacation time together and start blending the family. And they sat him down alone and said, "Dad, we don't want to live with you anymore. It's not about Christy. They had all kinds of excuses, and none of them really made any sense."
How old are they?
They are now 13 and 16.
And does he share custody?
Yes.
And they knew you before you got married?
Yes. Like I said, I met him through the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So for at least 6 years, you know, our daughters would be getting together, and so we would get together.
Were they excited about your engagement and that y'all were going to get married and all that?
They seem to be, especially at the beginning. I think what's happened over time, over the course of the engagement, they started having questions, and they didn't know how to bring that up, and they started having concerns, which it seems, now that we're at the spot we're at now, looking back, it seems maybe their mom had something to do with feeding some of those fears.
And so did your husband call her and say, "Hey, here's what happened. What do you think's the source of that?"
She actually was the one that encouraged the girls to sit down with him alone.
Okay.
And
all right.
I mean, they live just 5-10 minutes from our house.
Okay. Is there any way to say what the fears are real quickly, because we
what are they afraid of? What's their concern?
Well, everything they've said is about him and saying that it's just him. But
tell us what they say about him. We want to know, what do they say about him?
Oh, sometimes they'll say that he doesn't listen. Sometimes they'll say, "It's just the way you are. You'll never change." But as we've been going through counseling, it's starting to come out a little bit. They don't feel like they know me.
Mm-hmm.
He's asked them if they feel like he's betrayed them, and suddenly they get really quiet and can't answer.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Christy, I think every kid wants their parents to be together, and as long as you're not married, there's still a possibility that, you know, things could work out between mom and dad. And then the wedding takes place, and now that's not possible, so they start talking about it. This is a very common kind of problem, especially with the ages of those girls. And I don't know what you've done about it, and the best thing to do about it is to just say, "Okay, we'll work on that," and then you just become a friend. You remember the fairy tales you used to hear as a child? You know how many times there was a wicked stepmother in the picture.
Of course.
Those came out of experiences, because people did the wrong things in the blending of a marriage. So there's some things that I think we can tell you that will be helpful for you. But
and the other thing that compounds it is that kids that age, they want their parents together, but okay, if they're not going to be together, then they want the new situation to fix that hole in their tummy, that deep sadness. And when they find out it didn't fix it, then they can turn away. But we'll look at some other issues right after this. You're listening to New Life Live, 1-800-229-3000. Oh, we are back. Now, we're talking with Christy, and once she got married, her stepdaughters don't want to live with their father. Gave some reasons about him, but it seems to be it's centered around her. Maybe it was started actually by the stepmother. Now, biological mother. Now, question I have is, have you disciplined these girls at any point?
No. In fact, when we got back from the honeymoon, they said that this has been going on for over a year, and they just didn't feel strong enough to say anything.
Okay. Okay.
And so they're placing the blame on other issues.
Okay. Well, let's try to give you some advice about.
Well,
first,
first,
what is your question?
Still
what
unclear
have you
about
done?
what
I want
they
to know
don't
what
like
you've
about
done
her.
about this. What's happened since this happened?
Well, I mean, I've tried to, as you say, I mean, I don't want to be the wicked stepmother. Coming into this, I made a point of, I'm moving into their home, and I didn't want to move in and change things right away. And my daughters are the same way. Like I said, my oldest daughter and his oldest daughter are best friends. So we were very sensitive about, getting, checking with them first and trying to make it a family decision on things. We've thrown birthday
Chrissy,
parties.
I got to interrupt
But
you for a second.
what did you do? Did you just accept it? Did you fight it? Did your husband fight it? Did he get after the girls?
It hit
Just
him really
quickly.
hard at first.
Yeah, but what?
And he would
What
try
did
to
he
get
do?
them to
What was
understand
done?
that it hurt.
Okay.
But
Well-
what was done? Anything done?
So
Any counseling? Anything like that?
We started off just, family talks, and that wasn't going anywhere, so we started them into counseling. And at this point, the counselor has pretty much told them, just tell them I don't want to talk about it anymore, and then it's done. Not that we need to follow up later. They can just say,
Good.
look, I don't want to talk about it, and Dad's not allowed to talk anymore.
Good advice.
Chrissy, I got to ask
So
you a question, and I need you to answer this just in a sentence because we're going to get short on time here. You intimated a few times that, it started out talking about him and this, that, and the other, but as it's gone on, it sounded like there was some issue also that they had with you that you haven't told us yet.
Well, they're not telling me, but from what I hear when they're in with the counselor, they're saying they don't know me. I mean, I knew their mom before I knew their dad.
They don't. I want you to bullet point. They don't know you, and what else?
They're really dismissing me altogether, saying it's not about me.
So they are saying that it's overtly. There's no Christy part of this. It's Dad.
Right, and that's why we think it's more about them feeling hurt that he's abandoned them somehow. Maybe he doesn't love them anymore because one thing they say is he's only happy when I'm around or my kids are around, and when he's with them, he's quiet and sad. And right now, they're all walking on eggshells around each other.
All right. What is the question you want us to answer? What do you want us to focus on here?
Well, it seems they say they want to be with us every other weekend and, once in a while. But when they're with us, they're really closed off, and once in a while I can, connect with them on a book they're reading or, subject friends that we all know. But most of the time they really shut down. You try to talk to them, just casual conversation. They stare at their toes.
Okay.
Or
All right. Here's what I think you should do.
How do we connect? How do we break down that anger?
Yeah, quit trying to. That's my advice. Is quit trying. Let me finish this. Quit trying to do that. And when they're coming on the weekend, go live with them. Go have fun with them. Go to the theme park. Go do the things over and over and over again that say to them, when you're with us, we're going to focus on you for a while, and we're going to have some fun together, and just let the conversations come. This is a long process of bringing blended families together, and everybody goes through these phases, and you can't rush these phases of disappointment and then adjustment and acceptance. So go have fun with them.
We've been trying that.
Okay, but have more fun with them. So it's not like when you go to church on the weekend that you got to come back and talk about what they learned in Sunday school. Go to church and then take them out to the lake. And I'm telling you, this works. If you just get over into their world, it works.
But see, you're trying to figure out why, and there's no literal reason why that you're going to find that's going to satisfy anything. When I told you earlier that there's probably disappointment in that mom and dad can't get back together, and that's unspoken, that's even unconscious, just accept it and get your husband to accept it and get out of his mood of being hurt and just say, hey, we're going to make the best of this. We're going to have a great time because, as Steve said, it's a long process. It doesn't happen overnight. And, if you make that the focus, it's going to stay the problem. When those girls said, we don't want to talk about it anymore, good. Don't talk about it anymore. Talk about other things and have fun.
My approach is go from being the stepmother to the benevolent aunt figure. Don't discipline them. Don't criticize them. Don't push them and be their encourager and give it time under those kind of circumstances.
And that's exactly what we're trying to do. And when they spend a little time with us, things go really well. But the minute they get back with their mom, they start being really
okay,
nasty
but you
to
can't
their
control
dad.
that.
Don't
Chris.
worry about that. You
Yeah,
can't
just
control
keep building up those positive experiences with them and letting them know, wow,
Okay.
when we're with them, they're not so much about themselves or proving that they love each other, but they really are about us. When we're together, it's just wonderful that they give us this kind of focus and attention.
And Christy, what you want to be focusing on is what it's going to be like 5 years from now. Not what it's going to be like 5 weeks from now, but 5 years from now. And you follow through faithfully on this, and those girls will come around, and Dad will become important again in their life.
Yeah.
And this is a reaction that'll go away if you don't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.